Hello, welcome. My name is Danielle, and today we have author of Awaken to Inner Peace in the Midst of Chaos and Free Yourself from Human Conditioning. Welcome, Radavie.
Oh, thank you, Danielle, for having me. Such a pleasure.
Yeah, and such an honor to be with you. And I do briefly want to share with everyone that's with us right now that Radavie is a spirit-based indigenous healer from Jamaica. With over 30 years, she has helped thousands of clients to find new sense of well-being, to being relieved from their traumas, their present difficulties within their life, and their worries about the future. Over the last few years, she has received messages from a divine spark, the soul essence that she channels, and their messages have been an inspiration for her #1 best-selling book. Welcome, Radavie. It's wonderful to
Oh,
have you.
thank you so much to be in your presence and your audience.
Aw. Well, I'm really excited to have you here, and I have a few questions, so we'll just get started. And with the book overall, what inspired you to write it? It's such a powerful title, Awaken to Inner Peace in the Midst of Chaos. I mean, that's a really important
Yeah,
task.
so the inspiration didn't come all my life. However, when I was 7 years old, it just coming to me to remember, I started to write a book. And that was definitely soul guidance. And I never forgot the one sentence that I wrote in the book. Nobody knew I was going to do that. Nobody even today knew that I did that.
Wow.
And I remember exactly where I was, and I wrapped the paper up it was so important. I pulled the drawer out and go way in the back to fold and keep the paper because I did not want it to, yes, to keep it safely.
Mm.
I was just thinking that about safely, not just physically, but safely in my memory,
Right.
safely in my memory. And so I realized that over the years of all my experiences, because that's where we gain our wisdom, we only learn things from education. Not that I'm knocking it in any way, but when you know from experiences, you know.
Mhm.
So having served thousands of people to work through their childhood wounds, and then I realized my soul is giving me, I would say, the top of the cake, the icing on the cake was the messages and the vision that I had that this little boy came to me. So he was 3 years old, and he had one hand up above his head with a golden key, and he said, "We have a, a key. We are here to help the adults if they would take us out of confinement." And I knew
Mm.
exactly because I've been doing inner child work. I knew exactly what it meant. And after that, I started getting the messages. And I really want to let people know, the listeners to know that the messages, it's not just because I got messages. The messages are sacred messages of what you really are. All human beings are. In spite of what they told you when you were growing up, in spite of what you think about yourself because you haven't achieved some some fantasy or some expectations, there's a beauty inside of all of us that is very sacred. And that's what the divine spark is. And when I got those messages, and all those layers of what I'm talking about being sacred has come to me since I integrated with the book. I didn't know, I wasn't consciously, heart space, deeply getting it. It
Mm.
doesn't mean we have not always been sacred. I have not totally get all of it because I've been integrating so deeply with Okay. My divine self. My divine self. So and so that's how that happened. And I was urged to it was yearning messages and I was urged to let humanity know about their messages. And that's the reason the book was written.
It's so beautiful. I highlighted a few key points in the book that I felt was really special. And I just want to share with the audience
Please. Yes.
something a little small and maybe something down a little bit down the road. But I liked how you said you are the divine spark, the light of awareness, which I really deeply resonate with. And even when I was starting to read the book, I could feel the depth of which you've experienced along the way. We all go through the journey, and it started to bring out like this like joyful feeling within me. Like my inner child was excited to be reading your book and just feeling seen, that type of feeling. So I just wanted to share that little insert that I really enjoyed because it's so, I wouldn't say simple, but it's this expression that I'm sure many people have heard, but it's so true and profound and it's very wise.
Because their messages are multidimensional. And
Yes.
I will not just speak one of them because I don't want to miss a word. And that's exactly what you did. You didn't want to miss a word. And it's simple. It seems simple, but it's a very profound. And
Mhm.
Danielle, you got it because your innocence. And I want to tell people, we were innocent when we were born before language. And that's what the unveiling is to come home to what we already are. And Danielle, you experienced it.
Yes.
What?
I love the work that you do, and I feel the readers will also really just bring that essence to the forefront. It's a good feeling when I was reading, especially in the beginning, I thought, wow, this is so timely. With that being said, could you share some of the key insights or techniques from the book that people can, how they can find their inner peace amidst all these challenges?
Okay. So you're not going to find it into thinking because it's
Right.
not there. The first place to go is to really relax, open, go to your heart. It's
Mm.
only 18 inches down here, not far. And really be in that open space that you're not thinking how you're going to find it, but you're going to be open into this knowing place, how to discover it. So I want to just let you know, metaphor, imagine that the computer has a screen
Mhm.
and you can't see anything. It's a simple screen, but only through the screen can you really see what's going on the screen. It doesn't matter. Chaotic stuff, loving stuff, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
The screen is the light of awareness, your divine self. And without that divine self, it's the awareness. You would never be able to see what's going on in the world. So
Right.
you came before the conditioned self. You, the divine spark, the essence of your soul is here before anything else.
Mm.
So that's a really simple little thing that I wanted to share with you. Too much would clutter the mind. It's simple. And would like you to hold that space and say, I'm like the screen. It asks for nothing and it doesn't change. It's always constantly present, just like your divine spark.
Right. That's so beautiful. And as soon as you're really in that present space, I like how you mentioned the heart, open up the heart, because it does allow room for like the magnetic pull to aligning and shifting for in a way that feels in a way joyous and these beautiful feelings that will bring that in the moment.
Absolutely. And you know,
Yeah.
I'm not going to denounce the mind. The mind
Mhm.
has a very important role because our intelligence on the material world needs the mind and the thoughts and the thinking. So we are electromagnetic beings. So the mind, the thoughts are electrical. But if you hang out in there all the time, you're not in alignment. So when you go to your heart, that's a magnetic, electromagnetic, and
Mhm.
this is where you get your feelings from. And you know, you understand when things are happening, what you feel about it or how it affects you, which is
Mhm.
very nice because if something is affecting you in a painful way, at least you have an awareness to say, it's inside of me. It's not about what's happening out there. It's,
Right.
yeah, it's showing me this is the language of the body, is to feel. And I was speaking to a gentleman recently, and he said, you know, growing up, he didn't feel anything. He was disassociated from everything. Do you understand how much we lose when we don't feel anything, or how we can get into a place where it's not the best place to be? Just
Right.
consider. So
Yeah.
the human heart, as the indigenous people say, the heart is the human heart is the emotions is the expression of the self, the emotions. So we have to get accustomed to our emotions. Yes.
I agree. That's beautiful. What role in spirituality plays in achieving inner peace according to your book? And how can readers integrate these spiritual practices into their daily lives?
The book, you know, and I'm not trying to sell the book, but there's an offering. Okay, I'll just go to that. There's an offering on my website. And it's a free offering of one of the freedom exploration meditation in the book. And you will see when you go there ready, not ready to understand,
Mhm.
ready to experience. And you just sign up and listen to that freedom exploration. And if you
Mhm.
want to listen to more, because there are 12 of them in the book, you can get the book. And there's a QR code in the book that takes you directly to my website, and you can listen to all of them. But it's really good to me, I say, to digest one first before you're running through, because it's not anything to complete. It's about becoming and listening.
Right.
And so that would be my suggestion.
I like that. I when I saw that, I actually signed up for the newsletter as well, and I thought that was really cool because it's important to integrate it into the body, and experience it in a way it's almost like your emotions get amplified. The joy, the connection to the heart, and I like how you brought up that we are the electric magnetic field. So nurturing this and giving love to the inner child is such a beautiful place to start because the innocence, like you mentioned earlier, it's really what I feel that has always brought me closer to the divine, and
Yes,
enjoying some
exactly.
in that.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that you just
Well, you know,
yeah.
because of what my soul came to experience, I'll just say a little bit about how really wounded I was. My innocence was heavily wounded. My memory started at 2 years old. And so I was very withdrawn and I was sad and I didn't know what joy was. I really didn't. And I was a very deep integrative child. And I would sit and never forgot that. I'd sit by myself, wonder, why am I here? Why
Mhm.
am I here? What is life all about? What is life all about? Oh my God, I wanted to just see around the corner. And as I grew up, getting older in my teen, maybe early 20s, I always say, I would love to see what's around the corner. Well, what's around the corner was really, now I understand what it is in the mystery of my life and so of yours. What is the mystery? I want to know beyond that. But it's our actions and our experiences that takes us to the next point. We're
Mhm.
not going beyond that. And then the mystery expands beyond that. So to me, life is a mystery. And if we hold that place here and to know that hmm, I'm not alone, we're not alone. There's this, why is it we're not alone? The divine spark is the essence of the one flame of God. We're part of this one flame that is all these little sparks around the world. Just imagine, how can we be alone? Or how can we
Right.
be separate from someone else?
Exactly. Yeah, actually, that brings me up. I wrote this down because I loved this. It says, if we remembered and knew ourselves to be one with nature, as we know ourselves to be one with Mother in the womb, would we be punishing ourselves um, with self-inflicted wounds? And I really liked that because it did give me that feeling that yes, we're so connected to the divine, to the divine spark within us, within the one, and nature as well. And nature and me have a really special relation. I love nature. My inner child loves nature. And I know you do as well, and those who are listening. And so I find that even just being, the more I'm in nature, the more I'm able to connect to that. And yeah, I read that and I thought, wow, that was really profound. They're related.
Yeah, and I remember when I wrote a little something about me and my childhood growing up. I remember I wrote, because it was coming from my heart. I said the one thing I remember was walking in the woods with my brother.
Oh.
And it comes to my thoughts many times. Even now, many times. And I live around nature too. And so my little girl, like yours to Daniel, had the wonder of feeling the stillness of nature. There's a stillness in us that we feel in nature, although there's rustling of the wind or maybe an animal running by. We are in that stillness. Do you remember? Oh, it's so beautiful. Or we see a mushroom growing up out of the earth.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, can you provide a example of a personal experience within the transformation that you discuss within the book, which can illustrate the journey towards an inner peace? And I know you've touched on a few things, but you can expand on that.
All right. So I'll go back to age 4.
Mhm.
And I went to Sunday school. I heard about God. It stuck. It stuck deeply in me. And I heard that God was in heaven. And I wanted to, I looked up in the sky so many times, past the cloud, where is it? Where is heaven? Here, and I know that God was more special than me, and that's what I was taught. And so the thought of God became the golden thread that was a tapestry in my life. In spite of everything that was happening, all the learnings that I had to go through, all the 2 by 4 knocks I had to go through, there was this basic foundation of God. And so there was a basic spiritual, and I'm indigenous. I came in with a indigenous DNA, not from my family. I was different. So my mind went, my thoughts would go beyond just the material world. And I have to go to, there's a lot of, of openings. It was a slow progress, a lot of openings, a lot of openings. But I was on, I was on a plane flying, and I was going home to Jamaica, and I was in the plane, and I was reading a book from one of the Awaken teachers, because that's what I used to read. I wanted the expansive consciousness. And without warning, boom, there's a piece that fell, there's a veil. I have to say it's a veil that was just disappeared, moved out into the aisle,
Wow.
quite a distance. And in that moment, I saw it was like an appearance of me. Instantly, I knew that all this spiritual work that I was doing was going from my beliefs and my idea of what spirituality was. And at that time, I had a channel teacher. That's the only, that we had a group, and I got to see how we were just wounded children living a conscious life. There's a lot of mental judgment, beliefs, all of that. And I and I saw it. I was taken back. And I said, okay, so I'm seeing what I've always lived from. What is here seeing it?
Mm.
What is here seeing it?
Mm-hmm.
So as the that unveiled, I realized there is something else aware of that. And I could go back to the screen, and I can go back to my divine self that is always in awareness and in light. And always, never um, pull us out of the experiences we are having. It just, only thing our divine self is light and love, peace and love. So that was a moment of that. But purification happens after we exposed, and I hate the word away. I mean, I'm sorry to use the word hate. I don't like that word. But purification comes when we begin to have an experience that what I thought I was never me, never the real me. And so there are moments of purification and more understanding. And I watched how all of that began to move away. And the more the identification moves away, there's nothing else for you to do but you're living from here. It's just an automatic thing that happens. And there is this place of peace.
Mm.
I want to say it doesn't happen to everyone like that. So
Right.
don't think you're going to have to be in a plane for this to happen. Just have that passion to know, feel that there's something more that you want to experience. And that's what I had. I had all these teachers awakening, meaning they are into that higher space of consciousness. I want that. And so it wasn't, oh my God, how come they are not me? I never had that. I know that, and I was told too, there was a slow movement for me because I was in a learning mode to be able to share these earthly human experiences to people and in the book. So that's what began to unveil the identification and the identification. And now I see things and I have no attachment to it, but I have an understanding of it. But I can't feel any reaction. It's really hard for me to find a reaction. I don't have it. And so, one important thing that's coming to me to tell your listeners, we all have the ability to do this. It's not a special course you have to take. The only course is not out there, it's a desire in here.
Mhm. That's beautiful. It is within, because there could be a lot going on the outside, and then, how you are feeling internally is really all that matters. And as you were talking, because I do see a way of showing you examples in the midst of while it's happening. And I have a tendency to think metaphorically, so I relate a lot to books like this and people such as yourself. And so while you were talking, all of a sudden, I mean, I hope the viewers do not hear this, but as she was talking, this loud car is like vroom, 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 like making all this noise. And I'm trying to stay focused on what's going on internally. And so I really was listening to what you were saying, but even while listening, being present could even kind of, it's like part of the journey. And
Distraction.
it distractions are, I wouldn't say like always the word as a test, but it is part of the experience and how like far back you go. I do notice sometimes you get propelled further and it's almost like a boomerang. So I really enjoy hearing perspectives like this because everyone does have a different way of seeing things. And you're right, they're not going to experience it exactly how you did on the plane, but this is to give the readers an example of what this could feel like, look like, be like. But it all does come back to internal, into self
Yes,
within.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do you hope that readers take away from your book and the experience, and how do you envision this to impact their lives?
You know, I've come to realize that, gosh, we are all here. Um, we made agreements, or we acknowledge things we wanted to do in this lifetime. Um, So I'm going to use just this lifetime,
Okay.
and we don't remember. We didn't come with a memory. Not many people, very few people come remembering. So we are taking what's happening in our lives as a real thing. And throughout my life, I began to realize how important it was that I experienced the difficulties because it
Mm.
took me exactly to what my soul's agreement was. I had to find that out myself because nobody knows. Nobody's going to tell me. So I want to let you know, don't hang on to what happened to you. I did for a while. Find somebody who has that love and compassion and who lives from a more a higher a higher frequency, who understand that, to help you to
Mhm.
clear that, because sometimes it's really difficult when you store it so long to get out of it. And
Yeah.
And I just want to tell your viewers too that I offer 20-minute complimentary guidance. They want to take it.
I would. You hear that, guys?
Yeah, and
I think
yeah,
I think it's going to be a good offer for them because to at least just, everyone's, has deep layers, and some people may not identify as having layers, but I have come to learn that we all have layers. It's
oh,
nice to have someone
oh,
like you bring that, perspective and to make it's also relatable because, when you're going through something heavy and, it's easy to feel like you're the only one that's gone through it, but we all do. We all go through something, so I highly recommend that if you haven't spoke with Radavie, that you definitely sign up for the free 20-minute, just like getting to know, and you never know where this could take you. So that's a really beautiful offer you have.
thank you. Thank you, Danielle. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Aw. Is there anything else you would like to share regarding the book?
The book is
Hmm.
the 12 freedom exploration is a very important part of it, but what it does, you're learning what conditioning did to you, how you're looking outside for happiness and peace. You're going to find it. And then it showed you, it comes back into slowly bringing you back home into within you. And, there are little experiences that I have from clients or my experience in the book that really holds a space for you to know. I'm not just talking about something I don't know. I'm talking about something that I have had clients experience and I have experienced. And it brings you now to the freedom exploration. So the book is evergreen. It will never get old. And even my husband and who he is the one who helped to support my book, which is a divine gift. We will pick up the book at times just to read because we don't remember little part, or it brings us memories of what was said. And it's really beautiful. It's really beautiful to know that this is a book that you will always find part of it yourself in. Plus the messages, they're your multidimensional self, your sacred self. That is reminding you, what a beauty to know your essence is talking to you from the book. It's really great. So that's what I want to leave you with, and to know that love, it's not that love is always here. I want to tell, because I had to learn that too. We are love because the essence is what we are. Don't forget. And the essence, our divine spark, is love, peace, and love.
Hi.
This is my this. Welcome to my Zoom computer.
Sorry about that, guys. We had a little bit of interference. Um,
Technicality.
where you left off, but I was all of a sudden you froze, and I waited it out for a second, and then I decided to join back on. Sorry about that, guys. Um, do you want to pick up where you left? I'm not sure if you're aware
Oh
where.
yeah, I did say. Don't forget, you are love. And there's something I want to say.
Yeah.
Love is not a language. Love is an expression. It's consciousness. And when you really love, you feel your whole being feels love. And and you are in a space of stillness. But oh my God, everything looks beautiful out there. Your whole perception of life changes. Try it.
That's so beautiful. I really appreciate your perspective and what you bring, to humanity and what you're doing with the book. I really enjoyed reading it, and I'll be sure we'll make sure to link all the information for you to where they can find you, set up their 20-minute, session with you, as well as where they can find the book. Your website is amazing. It's pretty self-explanatory. I do recommend signing up for her email list as well and keeping in touch. There's a lot of beautiful content that Radavie has. And so it's just been a pleasure. And yeah, is there anything else you would like to share? Shall we?
I just want to thank your listeners and to remind them we're all connected. We really are connected. And some of us learn some things a little earlier than some, and some things I have to learn all the time. It's so beautiful, you know. Uh, no one knows the whole thing. God just gave us pieces of where we can excel in certain areas. And some
Mhm.
things I don't know, how technical things I don't know. And I just accept that. And certain things I don't know. So um, it's beautiful to accept the essence that you are. Things that you're good at, acknowledge yourself about it.
Yes. Yes, I love that. The journey, I call it the journey of self-love, just forgiveness and compassion towards yourself, because we can be hard on ourselves, certainly, you know. So love is definitely a frequency. And like I like how you brought up the heart, earlier. And
Yeah.
I really like the divine spark coming to you and showing you the key, because the key is something that I think is so symbolic, a metaphor, and each person's going to have their own unique perspective on what that means for them. And that's your truth. It might be different for some people. But I really resonated with that too, because I've had my own personal experience
Mm.
regarding that. So I can definitely confirm that that is spirit for sure. I felt a lot of that energy. I haven't quite finished the book yet, but I am on my, I've read through most of it. I was like reading every word and I'm just thinking, wow, this is so um, digestible and relatable, but yet profound and just confirming. So it's a lovely book, and I'm really grateful to
Oh,
be
thank you.
connected with you. Yeah.
And hopefully, when you bought it, you wrote a what do you call it? I want to say testimony at the book, but that's very important. So, if any of
Yeah.
your listeners, when you go to buy the book, please leave a little thing. Keep forgetting the word. Like
Review.
a review. Yes, thank you. Leave a review. It's important. It's very important for the book.
Yeah, and I have to add one more thing. You are who you say you are. Like you sometimes meet people, and just when we've met the first time, we met actually locally to one another. And
You want us to close? You want us to close this now? Oh no.
oh, and
Oh,
just I was just gonna say that your light or your energy, you could really feel the presence of who your being is. And so the book does speak for who the author truly actually is and lives by as well. So I just wanted to add that. And yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for being here, and have a wonderful day, and bye for now, guys.
you too, Daniel. Such a pleasure being in your presence. In your presence. Yes.
All right. Thank you, Radavie. Have a good rest of your day.